Hi, and welcome to the BookishStitcher podcast. My name is Jeanette. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and Goodreads as BookishStitcher, all one word. I hope you've had a wonderful week since I last podcasted. There's been just so much going on here that I don't even know what I would tell you. It's all kind of been a blur. I know last Sunday I got to go hang out with some friends and knit on super secret present stuff for my husband, and they all were knitting on the same color. We were all using the same yarn, so that was fun. And I posted a picture of that up to Instagram. I don't have those with me to show today because I've been working on so many things, and then I'm gonna really do a really fun thing this week. My daughter's in preschool and she got to go caroling at an elementary school, and she was just so happy about that, and it was a lot of fun. And it's been in the 30s here this week, 30s, low 40s. And so it's been wearing lots and lots of knitwear, and finally had to turn on the heater in the house because even though it did not get as cold inside as it did outside, with it being in the 30s, low 40s, it still got pretty cold. And I was like the last one that was like, okay, well, we'll turn on the heat, because you know, when it gets to a certain temperature, it's just kind of crazy to have it be that temperature in your house. But yeah, I'm just so enjoying the cold weather so much. And as you can see, let's get into finished objects. As you can see, I'm wearing one of my finished objects. This is my Sparkle KAL by Hilary Smith Callis. And I can stretch it out. I didn't end up blocking this because this is some Woolfolk worsted, and I just love the squishiness of it so much that I didn't want to block it and lose that. So it's kind of just what it looks like. And it is so soft and lovely. I love this yarn so much, and I will be getting some more of it next time if I'm out at a festival or something and see it. I have some of my gingerbread tea. And my hat that I am wearing is the Rosebud, I believe, and it's just this fun pattern, and it is by Brooklyn Tweed, or Jared Flood, who is also one of the designers in my 12 months of designers for next year, because I really enjoy his patterns. And then this I did not knit this week. This was an older finished object. I just wanted to say what it was, just so that you know. But other finished objects, I finished my Biscotte and Sea socks. And these are the Contes de Filles color, which is pinks and blues and blacks. And I love these socks. The colors are perfect. So yeah, and I actually wanted to share a little tip with you guys. I don't know if you've noticed, but somebody had asked about how my sock ends, these aren't woven in yet, as you can see, are always on the outside. And a lot of people said that theirs are on the inside. Well, I put mine, take it out of there for a second. I put mine on the outside because then I can know when I'm at the start of the round. So if I'm this way and I have it, I can see like, okay, this is the start of the round. If it's going this way and it goes around. And normally if it were inside, I wouldn't be able to tell that. So what I do when I'm doing my toe up socks is I do Judy's Magic cast on, and then I knit one round, and then the string's on the inside, so I just pull it to the outside and then keep knitting. And so that way I can always know where the beginning of the round is. And it's been, I don't remember where I learned that tip. I learned it 6 or 7 years ago, but it's been so useful to me in all my toe-up sock knitting. So that's that. And then it has oh, I forgot. I finished my daughter's mittens out of the hand spun, the little waiting from winter, but it's been so cold here, she's been using them. So I will have to bring those next week to show you because they turned out really cute. But like I was saying, it has been all about the quick knits for me this week because it's the wrapping up of the year, Christmas presents for teachers and coaches and things like that. And I had these grand plans to knit like matching hat and glove sets or cowls or stuff for the teachers. Nope. So what I have instead gone for is some really quick knits. So I am doing mug cozies, and this kind of, you can see the ends aren't sewn in on any of these, but this is the smocked mug jacket, I believe. And it's this gorgeous pattern. And I'm actually using scraps. This has been a great way because I'm using my variegated worsted scraps for the 10 stitch blanket that I have over there. But I had a whole bunch of basically solids, semi-solids of worsted weight. And so this has been perfect for making little things. And I just love this pattern. And then I have, that one's not blocked. I have one that is all blocked out. It still needs, I did little I-cords to attach over the handle so it kind of hold it up. And then I did a really longer I-cord so that it can loop the buttons. And I went and bought buttons yesterday. We were doing a whole bunch of Christmas shopping this week. But this is what it looks like. So it's all blocked out. The shorter I-cord will go up here. And then the longer I-cord with the button will be right here, kind of attached underneath them or in the middle of the handle. And while the mugs I picked were probably not the best for any mug cozy that I found, I made it work. The blocking really helped because before it was not going to fit, but the blocking helped, and I got it wet and I blocked it on the mug so that the shape would kind of, because I don't need as much down here, but I obviously need a lot more up here. And yeah, so this is what's going to be teacher presents. It's the little mugs that I got at Target for super cheap. And then I'm using scraps to knit the mug cozies. And then I have I got from World Market, I got little copies. They have different kinds. This is a Texas turtle. I have some other ones like holiday flavors, and then some red velvet cocoa mix. And so it will go like this, just in a little gift bag. I got the gift bags and everything yesterday. And if it's just a coach or something that my kids only see a little bit, it's just gonna get this, and then the teachers probably get a little gift card to somewhere. So that will be, and the teachers that they see every day, all day, will probably get a little gift card to something. But yeah, that is the finished one, and they don't stay up, obviously. That's why I knit the little I-cord, so I can attach it above so that it will stay up. That was the first mug cozy pattern that I did. And I have the other one that I'm working on right now, over in a bag, work in progress. And I have another couple designs of mug cozies that I want to knit up. I need to I have 8 teachers, coaches that are getting, because they each have like the teacher and then the teacher's assistant. And then my son has a certain teacher that he goes to for this and a certain teacher that he goes for math and different things. So those need to be finished by this Friday. So next week show may have, I have a ton of finished objects, but I can't show you them because I've gifted them all and I will be working frantically on them all week. And then one of the other things that I have is my daughter, her class, she has like a teacher and an assistant teacher, but they also have a college student helper, I believe it's college student, but somebody who wants to go into teaching is there kind of, I guess, observing / helping. And so I was going to do for her a little Christmas washcloth set with a like Bath and Body Works little shower gel. So I have one washcloth knit, and then I still have to knit the other one. But yeah, the mug cozies have been so quick, and I can get one done in a couple of hours, and if I really focus on it this week, I should have no problem finishing those up. But that's the key, is can I just focus on that? Probably all I'll do is pick those and then one other project from my whips and just focus on that to get done, because I love that I got some older whips done. These socks had been on the needles for a while, and it's nice to have them done. Now onto my whips. Let me show you some things that you've already seen. I think there's only one that you've already seen. So in here, my Bling Your String bag, and Erin has her bag club going right now that you can sign up to get surprise mystery bags, and it's a lot of fun, and I have to go sign up soon before it ends, but this is one of her bags. And in here is my knit that I'm doing for the Sparkle KAL. It's some Western Sky knits in their Bella colorway, and it's so beautiful. You see the sparkle in there maybe. And I had done one repeat of the pattern last week, so it was about right here. And then now it's a lot bigger. And I'm honestly loving working on this so much that if I didn't have all the mug cozies and quick little knits to do for gift knits, I would be working on this a whole bunch more. But it's going to be gorgeous. This is the Apia KAL by Hilary Smith Callis, and it's the same designer that did this KAL. I love this style a lot. And I'm really surprised at this yarn because in the skein it looked a little bit crazy. And in the cake it looks a little more subtle, but it's still, you know, but it's knitting up really kind of subtle. And the colors I think blend very well together because Western Sky Knits is a color genius. So that's my Sparkle KAL. And then the mug, I was saying, the mug cozy that I'm working on. I believe this is the Drecken mug cozy. I don't remember the exact name, but it's by Sally Jane, and I am using some scraps again, and this one takes DK weight. So this is perfect for getting rid of some DK weight scraps, and I'll probably do a bunch in this. My hair's everywhere in all the yarn, and I don't want to gift my hair into the teacher's presence, but this is some hazelnuts scraps, and I just barely started this today, so you're not gonna see a lot. But it's a little slip stitch pattern, very easy, very memorizable, and it works well, I feel, with subtly variegated yarns or kind of tonals. I wouldn't want it to be completely solid because that wouldn't have quite the interest, but I think a hugely variegated probably wouldn't look great. So the slip stitches really make it look nice with that subtle variegation. And that's going to be for one of the teachers, and this is in a Mina Makes bag. And then another thing that you have seen before but you haven't seen in forever, this is in a Fat Squirrel bag, is the Cloud Bay sweater by Justyna Lorakowska. Our Justyna Lorakowska KAL went on for a long time, and I still wasn't done. I just been working on other things and test knits. So I wanted to get back to this. I don't know if I'll get it done by the end of the year, but I really hope so because it is a sweater Christmas present for my best friend. But we probably won't be seeing them till somewhere early New Year's because both of our families, you know, visit people or go on vacations or stuff for Christmas time. I know her family is all over, and so we probably won't see each other till after Christmas and after all the family stuff, even though she is like family to me because I've known her longer. I've known her since high school, like beginning of high school, so it's one of those great friendships that just means so much to me. And she's not a knitter, but she definitely appreciates knitwear. And so this is the Cloud Bay. And my best friend is even shorter than I am, and that's saying a lot because I'm pretty short. So I don't have a whole lot farther to go on this. And I'm using this little Studio J, I believe, marker to mark the progress and for where I'm supposed to do the increases. So I do a couple more increases and things, and then there's a big band of ribbing around the bottom where the pockets are and everything. And my best friend requested a creamish white color, so I am using some Knit Picks Capra. She asked if I could knit her a cashmere white sweater. I was like, well, all cashmere yarn is going to be really expensive, so this has like a tiny bit of cashmere in it, and I got it on sale last year, and so that's what she's getting in her thing, and I think she'll like it. I don't have to tell her exactly what the percentage of cashmere is. I can just say it's a wool cashmere blend. So this needs to really take priority after the mug cozies because it is not for me. It is for my friend. And then in my bag that a sweet viewer gifted to me, I started another project because one of my goals for this year was to knit up my entire queue. And I don't have hundreds on different people organize their queues differently, right? I don't have hundreds of things on my queues. I kind of have a favorited bundle that says to make, which is kind of one of those, if I just see a pattern and I like it, I will just throw it in that favorited bundle. So my queue is more things that I intend to knit that next year. And I'm getting this year's queue all done so that I can put in next year's queue. And I think I have 4 or 5 things left on my queue. And as you know, it's middle of December. So really I'm kind of cheating on this one by, I'm just gonna cast them on, and I'm gonna count it because it will be off the queue, right? If it's off, once I put it as an active whip, it's off the queue. So I will be able to clean up my queue. And then next year, probably what I'll do is just pick one of the ones that I cast on and just work on it as I work on my designer stuff, kind of pick an older one to knit on as I do my month of designers. But this one's awesome because it will count, since the designer for this sweater, it's the Paloma, and it was so kindly gifted to me for my birthday this year by my friend Jessica Saranova Crafts. And it's this gorgeous, giant, oversized, comfy, large sweater. I believe it's supposed to have like 4 inches of positive ease, and it has pockets, and it's done in double seed stitch. So it's just going to be the most lovely, cozy winter around the house coat, and even outside. I'm in love with it. And I am doing it in I'd gotten this a while ago to actually make this sweater. And then I normally don't knit with the yarn the pattern calls for, but I am in this case. And I don't have another skein with me or the tag. But it is some O wool, and I've never knit with O wool before. And so I'm enjoying it so far. It's some O wool. And I had to get this colorway when I saw it because I was looking on the website months ago. It's called Rain Cloud. So if you've watched the podcast before, you know that I love the rain. And so I saw that it was called Rain Cloud, and it's a big comfy sweater. So I can just picture myself in this sweater while it's raining outside, drinking the tea that my friend Erica Simple Motif gave me, and wearing the sweater while reading a book. But yeah, Rain Cloud. And I have just done a tiny bit. Like I said, it's going to be off my queue, so that's all that counts for me right now, all that matters for me right now. But honestly, this sweater is done in a size 10.5. So if I didn't have mug cozies to knit, I could get this done in 2 weeks, probably. And the sweater calls for it to be knit in pieces. So this is the back. And I don't love knitting, I don't love seaming. I don't mind knitting in pieces. I don't love seaming, but I always, when I see that a pattern has called for seaming, I always look at it before I decide whether I want to alter it to be all one piece. So I'll say that a pattern requires that it needs to be knit in pieces. I will look at it and be like, okay, is it supposed to be, to me there's only 2 reasons why I personally would want to seam a garment, because I dislike seaming a lot. Number 1, and this is a thing that would probably never happen. Number 1, if I'm wanting to knit a very polished looking sweater, almost like designer looking sweater, which most of my sweaters I like to be cozy, so I'm not looking for a really fitted, tailored look. And then number 2, the other thing I would look for, and that's what this sweater falls into, is it going to be a heavy sweater? If it's knit, or a heavy jacket, if it's knit in a heavy yarn, it gives it a lot of weight. So seaming, and you probably already know this, but I'm just telling you for the 2 of you that watch and don't know, but seaming a garment gives it a lot of stability in the lines that normally it would pull and tug at. It kind of has that extra layer of security there. And so since this is knit on a bulky weight, I believe it's bulky or super, I think it's bulky, then I wanted it to have that stability and that strength so that the jacket holds up well. But yeah, this is the Paloma, and it is by Thea Coleman, who is one of my designers for next year. So I can just pick this back up when I do her designs next year, kind of like my exploration station is on hold because Stephen West is one of my designers, and I'm just going to pick that back up next year when I'm knitting his thing, so it works out perfectly. And that is all of my works in progress. Now I did do spinning, but I'm kind of in the middle of that plying party. Last week I showed you that pink bit of fiber that I needed to finish spinning up, and then I said I needed to have a plying party so I could have 2 skeins of finished hand spun, and I'm kind of in the middle of, or I am in the middle of that. So hopefully next week, if I have time between knitting mug cozies and trying to finish the sweater for my best friend, hopefully then I will, you know, get that done, but I might not have time to spin. But yeah, I have been spinning a little bit. And then for enabling, I don't have anything for myself, but I did have some enabling to show you guys for Open Skies yarn on Etsy. I'll just see if I can hold these 3 up right here. So these 3, and this is these are some skeins that are going to be going up in the shop. So this is the Winter Skies colorway, and it's on the twist sock because that sold out pretty much immediately when I put it in the shop for the first time. And I completely think that this is going to be the greatest socks because it's so pretty, and I can totally see why that one sold out first. And this is a BFL nylon blend, so these socks are going to be so sturdy. And my Winter Skies colorway has, I talked about last week, whites and blues and evergreens, like the deep sprucey evergreen color. And I love, as you probably can tell by my yarn, I love a little bit or a bit of white in either the fiber that I spin with or the yarn that I knit with. I think it just adds a surprising dimension to the knitwear. So I think these socks, it would make a fantastic blueberry waffle sock, or monkeys, or even a plain vanilla with like a blue heel and toe. It would be so gorgeous. So maybe I should knit myself some. I actually need to knit myself some samples for the booth because I'm going to be vending, and so I kind of planning out different yarns and different patterns that I want to do next year to knit some booth samples. And then this is kind of a special thing because my friend Tiffany wanted some funny face yarn, and she wanted it on worsted weight, which I don't carry a worsted weight normally in the shop, but when your friend asks you, you say yes, because I love Tiffany and she's awesome. And I got to meet her at my very first knitting retreat, and she was so sweet and nice to me, and I really appreciated that. So this is a worsted weight yarn, and I don't know off the top of my head how many yards are in it, somewhere around 220. It's not a super thick worsted. I would say it's more like the Miss Babs Yowza worsted, like it's like a light worsted maybe. But yeah, there's just going to be one of these in the shop. I do have a few other undyed worsted weight, so if there's a colorway that I have that you would love to see in worsted weight for hats or something, please let me know and I can dye that up for you. So one skein is going to my friend Tiffany, and the other skein is going up in the shop. This is breakfast at Tiffany. This is not breakfast at Tiffany. I was thinking because her name is Tiffany. This is Funny Face. Yep. And then the last one is complete just playing around for a swap for a friend, and I'm madly in love with it, which is, I'm like, what do I do? Because it's not part of any theme, but I want it to be in normal colors. I might either have to like fit it into a theme or just have it as a standalone, which I haven't done yet, but my friend Erin, who does the Bling Your String bags and yarn, she and I did a swap a while ago this year for hand spun, and she picked one that had blues and purple. I gave her some choices of fiber to pick, and she picked one that had blues and purples and oranges in it. And I spun it up and sent it to her with a whole bunch of goodies, and then she hand spun for me, which I need to still knit, for socks, and then sent that to me with a ton of goodies. So we had said we would do another one around Halloween. It's now Christmas, but it's just 'cause I'm behind on everything. And so she said, this time, why don't we dye yarn, since I'm dyeing yarn now, instead of hand spun, because that's a lot faster than spinning. And so I came up with this color, which kind of reminds me of the fiber that she picked for the hand spun. So it is this gorgeous kind of golden yellow, not yellow, orange. And then there are speckles and splashes of different shades of purple and blue in there with the white. And I love it. This is on the soft sock, which is so squishy. And I need to order more of this when the Christmas season is over. But yeah, there's only one of these that is not going to Erin. And I think I'm gonna call this, just until future notice if I can fit it in with some other theme. This is called Erin is Awesome. So that's what's gonna be in the shop. So if you really like this, I should keep it for myself. I've already said, but if you really like this, it will be up in the shop. I forgot to say, Erin, look away. I'll message her and tell her to look away. So yeah, this is going up in the shop and there will just be one of them for right now. I will probably dye up some more because I am so in love with that colorway. Erin is awesome. And then I think that is all for enabling and everything. And then we just have the book review to do. So I have been doing Christmas books, and thank you everyone who did the recommendations for Happy Christmas books. I downloaded some and I'm going to be listening to them next week. This week was the nonfiction Christmas book. And the one that I chose, I've been wanting to read for a while, is Silent Night, The Remarkable Christmas Truce of 1914 by Stanley Weintraub. Hope you can see that, okay. And so this book, of course, deals with the remarkable Christmas truce of 1914. So as you probably know, 1914, the entire, well, not the entire, but a lot of the world was at war, and it was World War I. And the guys have been, the boys, as I call them, the boys have been fighting for a while in these horrible conditions. And Christmas comes up, and they decide to call a truce. The Germans really, there's kind of like little legends that go around about it. The Germans came in carrying Christmas trees and were saying, come on, let's celebrate. And that the Germans, a lot of them could understand English because some of them worked in England. And so there were different people translating for the German and English. But they all came out of the trenches and celebrated Christmas together, and they buried some of the bodies of people that had died, that had been in what's called no man's land. And just kind of the people kind of grew to become friends in this very short span of time. And I kind of fell in love with this concept from a Christmas song that I heard by the something Thunder. It's a band, and it's Christmas 1914 is the title of the song, and it talks about this boy singing Christmas songs, and it's kind of, it makes you cry because it's very sad, but I fell in love with it from that, and so I went researching on it and I found this book. And the book deals with kind of what was happening leading up to this, and then the actual event itself, and then the fact that they became friends and they didn't want to go back to war. And this is kind of the tragic part to me, and I'll talk about it more in a little bit, but they didn't want to fight, and they kind of had to be forced. They're from people that were higher up who were not actually fighting, who were off somewhere telling them to fight, but these are the people in the trenches that were losing their lives, and they didn't want to fight because they had met the other side. And these people that weren't even actually putting anything at risk, and just the high political leaders of the land were like, fight. But it's just so tragic to me. And they had to threaten the men to get them to fight, and a lot of times they had to bring in replacements who had not been there for the Christmas holiday truce, because those men at least would not have that connection already and would be willing to fight. So it was awful. And the last section is, oh, and it It had a little bit about Hitler in here because he fought in World War I, and he did not, according to the book, participate in the Christmas truce. He kind of didn't go out and fraternize with the enemy, as he called it. He stayed in his own little private area, which is probably something that makes sense with his character that we know. But there's a chapter at the end called What If? And this broke my heart, you guys. It was just so sad, because it's like, what if they had stopped fighting? What if the people who were higher up, who weren't even risking their lives, were like, okay, let's call a truce. Let's stop this. Well, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of lives would have been spared, because there were horrible things occurring after this, just because the fighting conditions were so bad that they couldn't really make any ground. So it was like fighting over inches, it said. And it talked about if the war had ended a lot sooner, Hitler would not have had a platform to argue upon. It wouldn't have been this embittered thing, and Germany would not have gone through so much and been so demoralized as a country from World War I, that Hitler wouldn't have had this platform to kind of preach from. And World War II and the Holocaust probably would not have happened. It's just so tragic to me, and I get a little teared up, but it's, you know, that all wouldn't have happened. It did honestly list some of the drawbacks. The suffragette movement would have probably been a little farther back, because if the men hadn't been gone so long, women would not have had as much time in the workplace, so they wouldn't have been as willing to fight to keep those jobs and stuff that they had gotten. But there was a lot more negative things that came about by the prolongation of the war. And it just broke my heart, because those people that were actually risking their lives didn't want to fight. And the higher up political people were doing it for not even good reasons. World War II with the Holocaust, that was a good reason. That was horrific, awful stuff. World War I, a lot of it was not even a good reason to go to war. It was political people fighting and things like that, and just it's so sad. And I highly recommend this book. I might try to send it to my dad for Christmas, because he loves war books, but it's not long, it's very short, and it's not incredibly detailed or anything like that. But it's just a good book about this short little time during World War I, and I really enjoyed the what if section at the end. Even though it broke my heart, it kind of gave me hope for the world, while taking it away a little bit gave me hope for the average people that are out there, and then kind of took away a little bit for the, people that were higher up, the people that were in charge of the land, trying to make these decisions that ultimately ended thousands of lives, and just very sad. So that was the nonfiction Christmas book choice for the month of December. And it was Silent Night, The Remarkable Christmas Truce of 1914. And I listened to it on Audible, so it was pretty good. And yeah, next week I will be doing a couple of happy Christmas stories. They're very short, so I probably will review too. And my husband has said that he will come on next week. So yay, I won't have a lot of finished objects because they will have gone to their recipients, but I will have an awesome husband here, and he's going to show you his Doctor Who scarf. And next week I'm going to draw for a prize for Patreon stuff. I've been putting together, my husband is helping me, giant mini skein sets from all different kinds of fingering weight yarn that I've knit throughout the year, and these are huge mini skein sets, and I'm going to draw for, I think, 3 people off of Patreon to win a big huge bundle of those. So I'll draw for that next week, and we still have the Sparkle KAL going on, so that's all in the BookishStitcher group on Ravelry. But yeah, I think that's everything I have, and until next week, I hope you guys have a great week and you get to do all the things you love. Okay, bye guys.